audio and video. Set intro video. All right. We are live. So, hey guys, welcome to the We Are One podcast. You know me, my name is Ken. I am a reality researcher. And today I will be, where's my name on this thing? Is it even there? Let's see. I'll be talking to a real live monk. His name is Giri. So I'd like to introduce my new friend, Giri.
All right, Krishna.
So Giri, tell us about yourself, a little bit about your past, how you got into your belief system, and where you are right now in your life.
Yeah, so I'm Giri. I'm a monk. I stay here at Krishna Life Atlanta. We have a huge monastery. The funny thing is actually we're working on a big project, and we're selling this temple, and we're actually moving to Tennessee. We're buying this huge we just bought, actually we already own this 600-acre farm property, and we're doing this to spread spiritual consciousness, to help elevate people's consciousness, to help them go beyond this material civilization. And I got into it because that's what I was all about. The main goal, like I wanted to be happy in this material life, and all these things that I was looking for never satisfied me. This is just super fleeting. This material sense enjoyment is very fleeting. And so about before I became a monk, I was born Christian. So I was born in America. I was born Christian, and I was very dissatisfied with the Christian like philosophy, because to me it didn't make much sense. And I can get more into that later. But the main point is that, yeah, I was fed up with Christianity, and I actually became an atheist for some time. And then I over time I didn't completely reject religion, but I just was dissatisfied with Christianity, and I wanted to see what's more out there. Like, what are other people thinking? Like, what is other people's philosophies? What are other how do other perceive this life? Like, what is the goal of life, in a sense? And so I started to do more research about other religions. Like, I studied uh, Judaism, Islam, Buddhism, all these different religions, Taoism. Even Zoroastrianism. It's a very ancient religion, monotheistic religion, like that. And so I wanted to study all these religions because I wanted to know, like, what is the goal of life? What is these people's philosophy? How do I understand how to control the mind? How to go beyond the body? What happens after death? All these deep questions that people don't usually think about most of the time. And so then I came up, but I never knew anything about Hinduism or India or the Vedic culture, the Vedas. I never knew anything about this about this stuff. And so then I when I was really getting into Buddhism, they study Sanskrit. So Sanskrit is a very ancient language. It's over 5,000 years old, and I found out that Buddhism actually comes from Hinduism. It comes from the Vedas, and I I looked into the Vedas because I didn't know what that was at all. And it's basically very sacred ancient text from India, talking about all these philosophical points that you can ever think of and more. It's really so much. The Vedas literally means knowledge. So when I started looking into this, and especially, like, the Vedas and the Bhagavad Gita and the Srimad Bhagavatam, when I started reading these books, they completely blew my mind. I was like, wow, there's so much knowledge here that is, like, it doesn't even compare to all the other books I read. And it was just really crazy. And then I just wanted to do more and more research, and I found out that there was a temple near my home. And so actually my friend, he's the one who told me about it. And he actually brought me to the temple. He would bring me to the temple, and I would go there and associate with the monks and take prasadam, which is like spiritual food. And so, and over time, I just associated with these people, and I could just tell that these people were different. That these people, even though they had nothing at all, they they were extremely happy. They just had some glow. Like, you look at their face, and they're bright faced, as they say. They're bright faced. They're glowing. And so when I saw this, I was like, wow. I'm trying my hardest to look for this materially, that materially, trying to be so trying to find happiness in this material world, but I'm like meeting no goal. So then when I looked at these people, I was like, these people have these people have nothing, but they look like they have everything at the same time. It's crazy. So I was just like, I let me hang out with these people, let me see what their lifestyle is about. And then over time I just kept associating with them. And then I've there's this, his name is Chandan, the monk coach. Uh yeah, they're actually Chandan, Ali and Chandan. They're my two best friends. They're like my good friends. They're pretty popular. They have this big Instagram page, and but uh, I met them first, and they invited me to come to a retreat in Atlanta for 3 days. And after 3 days, I basically like fell in love with it, and I just never left. Basically, that's basically how I became a monk, pretty much.
Awesome. And so, how long ago was that you went there on the retreat?
That was about 3 years ago.
3 years ago.
Yeah, so
Awesome.
I've
So
been a monk for 3 years.
you've been a month for 3 years, and where have you traveled to? Just as far as your I know you said you were a traveling monk. Where have you traveled to?
Yeah, I traveled. I practically traveled all over America. I traveled to Canada. I traveled almost all of Canada. I'm actually going. I'm going to India in January. So country wise, like the whole world wise, I haven't traveled everywhere, but
Awesome.
but I've traveled a lot. In just 3 years, I traveled like thousands and thousands of miles. So I met all different types of people. I go to different universities. I go like we preach at universities. We speak to students at universities. We go to conventions. We go to uh, we go to Walmart parking lots. Any festivals. We go to festivals. We rent a lot of booths at different festivals, conventions, and stuff like that. So we also do like we do very official things, but we also do like we just go to sometimes we just go to like parking lots and stuff like that, or door to door.
Nice. So, what would be the overall message of why you guys travel, why you guys talk? You're looking to spread the word.
Yeah, yeah. It's more like it's like a missionary sense. Like we're like missionaries in one sense, but at the same time, we're not attached to the fruit because you know when it comes to like I know like the most common missionaries like okay like Christian like Christian missionaries, they're very strong in their preaching, like you're gonna go to hell and like this and like that. We don't really take that route of, as you can tell. We're more like okay, here's the knowledge. Everyone has free will. Take up the knowledge. If you have a free will, it's either you take it or you don't take it. And if you don't take it, of course we're sad, but we're not gonna like like we're like, oh yeah, well, you're going to hell because you didn't take this knowledge. No, it's not like that. We're just like, okay, you don't want the knowledge. It is what it is. That's what you want. We're here just like we're here to. That's like an instruction manual. It's like we give you the instruction manual, and it's up to you whether you use it or not.
Nice. So, what would be
So
the
like we're
instruction manual for you guys as far as is it text? Is it scriptures? Is it gospels?
yeah,
Like, what
yeah.
exactly would you be saying as far as the knowledge is concerned?
Yeah, yeah. So when we like, for example, like I was there at the convention, and we were handing out books, and so that's our main like instruction manual. Like we're giving out people these ancient, like the Bhagavad Gita. The Bhagavad Gita is basically like the most important spiritual book in the entire world. It's basically like an instruction manual on how you can control your mind, how you can live your life, how you can overcome the material body and attain a spiritual body like that. So this is it's like, here you go. Here's the instruction manual. Here are the tools to where you can liberate yourself. And it's up to you whether you want to do it or not.
So, is the Bhagavad Gita, sorry, is that a parable, or is it a story of the world? Is it like a Genesis version, or what exactly? How you sum that up?
Yeah, yeah. So the Bhagavad Gita it actually took place 5,000 years ago. It's actually a historical thing that happened between Krishna and Arjuna on the battlefield of Kurukshetra. And basically, Arjuna, he was fighting against his own family on the battlefield. Like he had to kill his own like uncles and grandfather and brothers and stuff like this and cousins. Of course, he was very much in distress because he didn't want to fight it. No one wants to fight their own family. So, but then he became very bewildered, as you said, Maya. He became bewildered. He like Gita, Krishna spoke the Bhagavad Gita to him to help him free himself from this bewilderment and give him real knowledge, real realization. So this is actually a conversation between two best friends on the battlefield.
Nice. Okay, so let's get into some of the topics. I have a number of topics written out, obviously, and I've posed these questions in a something versus something else. So if
Okay.
it's not your faith or your belief system right now to side with one or the other, that's fine. We're just bringing topics up to get the contrast of the two differentials. Okay, so you are a Buddhist monk, correct?
I'm known as a Hare Krishna monk.
Hare Krishna monk. Okay, what's the difference between a Buddhist, typical Tibetan or Buddhist monk, and then a Hare Krishna monk?
Okay, so yeah, that's a good question. Because actually, when I first learned about the monks, I didn't know about what was the difference between Buddhist monks and Hare Krishna monks or other monks in general. Because a monk is actually a lifestyle. A monk just means a person who dedicates their entire life to spirituality and the pursuit of knowledge. Uh, like there's Catholic monks, there's Christian monks, there's Buddhist monks. There's so many different types of monks, like that. And so the difference between a Buddhist monk, like it's a traditional, like the popularized Tibetan to Buddhist monks, is that the Buddhist monks, their main philosophy is that they actually reject the Vedas. They actually reject the Vedas, and they don't believe in a soul. And their goal is to achieve nirvana. You've probably heard of this before, nirvana. Their goal is to reach nirvana and to in a sense basically devoid all activity, have no activity at all. But in Krishna consciousness, uh like I said before, the Buddhism actually originates from the Vedas. And so the Vedas, we follow the Vedas. The Hare Krishnas, we follow the Vedas, the Vedic culture, Varnashram Dharma. And the main goal in the Hare Krishna movement is to understand what is the difference between spirit and matter, and who is the controller of both. And we basically we have to as monks live a very simplistic life, like all other monks do. But like sorry, I'm losing my train of thought. And basically yeah, as Hare Krishnas, we understand that the Vedas, there is a soul. The soul is within everybody, every living entity, every tree, every plant, every animal. And where our goal is to free ourselves from the material world and go back to the spiritual world, like that. So that's like the main difference actually, is that we're not trying to stop activity. We're just trying to redirect our activity to Krishna's service. Whilst the Buddhists, they're trying to stop all activity.
Okay.
That's like the main
A few
difference.
things in there that I have questions on. So there are Buddhist monks that do not believe in the soul. Is that what you said? Is that correct?
Yeah, there is. If you follow the main teachings of Buddhism, they don't believe in the spirit soul. They don't believe in a soul.
So the spirit is separate than a soul, or they're both
Like
considered the same?
like the spirit soul, yeah, spirit soul is like the same thing. Like they don't believe in the spirit, they don't believe in the soul. They believe in reincarnation. They just don't believe in the soul though.
So how would this might be off-topic questions, but how would, say like the Dalai Lama is reincarnated in essence, correct? So how would you reincarnate if you had no soul? How does that work with no soul?
Exactly. That's my question to them too.
Okay, so obviously you're not on that path. I got you. Okay. So
Yeah,
one
yeah.
of the first videos that I watched when I was waking up in 2019 was about the first Buddha and Nirvana, and my interpretation of Nirvana is probably more on the core theory than it would be the actual word that people say now. They just say now with Nirvana is like the cycle of life, and I don't believe that
Mhm.
that is accurate. So I'll tell you my interpretation of Nirvana. And you tell me if it's accurate or how I'm
Okay.
off. So again, I had this thing come over me, basically flooded with energy, and I was very emotional and tearful. And when I started watching videos trying to find out what was explaining what was going on inside of me, I came upon the story of the first Buddha and the end of suffering,
Mhm.
and sitting under the tree and thinking, how do I stop this suffering? And so the term for me for nirvana, it's not just me, I guess, but my theoretical interpretation is that nirvana is ending of all suffering, in terms of you're you're dissociating from your ego and your soul or your spirit, and you're saying, that's it, I don't want to do this anymore, and I want to end all my suffering. And the only way to do that would be to attach yourself from the physical reality that we come into, with whether it's reincarnation or not, and basically stop the want, stop all wants, stop wanting to live, because stop wanting to eat, stop wanting to associate, stop wanting to be physical, I guess would be the best way to term that. Is that accurate in terms of what nirvana is in your
Yeah,
estimation?
that's pretty good. Yeah,
Okay.
it's pretty good. That's pretty accurate. Yeah. Like
Okay, great. I,
yeah,
I figured so, because
Nirvana. Yeah, most people who use this word Nirvana, they don't know what it means. Uh, but yeah, Nirvana, like you said, I mean, you were pretty accurate. It's just like exactly, you just want to like basically like, I want to get out of here. That's it. Like, I'm done with this material world, and you know, it's like, like, you just completely stop all activity. Like I was saying before. But yeah, you're pretty spot on like that.
searching for peace in a way that it's not possible here, I guess would be the only way I could explain that.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, awesome. So good. If we're lagging, just I may be a few seconds behind you. I'm not trying to interrupt you. If just it's lagging. I think that
I
the
see.
recording is going to be proper. I've seen it happen in the past before where it's lagged and it's fine. Um, okay, so let's get some good questions, and some good topics here. All right, so the first topic I have is archons, aeons versus Abrahamic or spiritual guides, in
Mhm.
terms of uh, what's going on above us. In terms of the Buddhism part, I've heard of some terms or some topics as far as what they think is going on above or out of this reality, this illusion. Um, do Buddhists believe in like rulers outside of this simulation or simulated construct? And are they able to come back and forth and pass knowledge?
Yeah, yeah. Buddhists, I definitely, they do believe in some, like for example, like they hire, like there's a huge universe, so there's definitely other living entities who are in higher planets, lower planets. So yeah, we like, even in the Vedic culture, like in the Vedas, it describes that so actually we're called, this is called, right now we're on the boom mandala. We're like in the middle, earthly planet, we're in the middle, and then above us is the heavenly planets, and below us is the hellish planets. So like, there's like the hellish planets where like the demons and rakshasas and yavanas and like all these different higher beings, or like stronger beings like that, live there in the hellish planets. And that's where people go to like suffer. It's like a prison type of thing. It's not eternal. It's like a temporary punishment for you basically the wrongs you've done, due to your karma. And then there's also these heavenly planets where like if you have good karma, if you're pious, then you get like, those are like, we're like basically like angels and like super beautiful demigods and like, these higher living entities like that. So yeah, and I remember researching, and even in Buddhism they do believe in higher and lower living entities like that.
Okay, so different planes, obviously, that are there. How do how
Yeah,
does
100%.
your uh, how does your faith, which I'm going to use that word instead of saying the Hare Krishna version of your, it's not a religion, I don't think is the right word to say, but how would your faith interpret the communication between that plane and this plane and the lower planes as well?
Communication. Yeah, I mean, essentially everything depends on, in one sense, if you're not situated in Krishna consciousness, then everything depends on your own karma, in one sense. uh and meaning that, like I was saying earlier, meaning that if you're not a pious person, and you do like, like, like for example, like, like when you do something, when you lie or when you steal, you just have like, when you were younger, you definitely had that feeling in your heart, like, oh, I probably shouldn't be doing this. uh it's like that. It's like that sense of like you're conscious, that consciousness is there. So you understand there's a sense of like what's good, what is bad, that duality. So like, there's also that sin, and there's sinful, and then there's like, not sinful, like that, like pious and sinful like that. So karma is actually very a huge thing that relies upon everybody. It's karma. You can't avoid karma unless like you were saying, if you're trying to reach this, if you're trying to end the cycle of birth and death, which is real nirvana, is to go back to Krishna in the spiritual, then that's real. That's the real way on how to stop karma. Actually, you get a karma. A karma means you stop all karma, like that. You don't get any karma. You don't gain any karma from spiritual activity.
So what do you think is the purpose of life, of this? Do you think it is like, I don't want to say it's like a school, but do you think it is to cleanse karma? Is that what physical matter reality is? If that's the case, and we're looking to cleanse our karma, then what would be the purpose of doing anything? Why wouldn't you just, meditate, release, and be done?
Yeah. So actually, yeah, I mean, the goal of this human form of life, actually, the human form of life is actually very rare, actually, because like in the betas, there it's stated there's 8.4 million species of like species of life. So like there's like there's, and out of those 8.4, there's 480,000 different types of humans. So like that, there's but the human form of life is actually very rare to obtain. It's the hardest. It's actually it's so it's actually one of the harder living species to obtain is the human form. Human form is actually very sacred and rare. It's the opportunity to understand who God really is and who understand who you are. So yeah, the goal of life is to, like I was saying, is to end all karma, like good and bad karma. Like we're trying to stop all karma in general, because good karma means that you'll still be here in this material world, but you'll go to like the heavenly planets, or you'll like, there's people born rich, there's people born beautiful, there's people born very strong, like athletes, champions, like this. There's people born like that. There's naturally, that's like good karma. But then there's people born in like, they don't have any, they're born without legs, or they're born very poor, or like stuff like that. Like, so that's like bad karma in one sense. So it's like but that's material. But we're trying to transcend good and bad karma. That's the goal, is to stop all karma. And like you were saying, like we should just sit and meditate and try to do, like, why don't we just do that? Well, actually, in this age of Kali, where right now we're in the age of Kali, it's the most degraded age. And it's actually very difficult to do that. And most people are not inclined to spirituality anyway. So to even start that one-minded meditation is very difficult. And most people can't even do it because they're not even attracted to spirituality. And then, but the best, so in the Hare Krishna movement, we perform the easiest and best way to do meditation, which is mantra meditation. And but like I was saying, uh the actually Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita that actually to perform the best action, the best, oh, okay, yeah, the best way to do anything is to perform action, but not action for yourself, but redirect your action and a spiritual action. Like is that, Krishna actually says that it's actually very bad to be inactive, because inactive is not natural, because the soul is always active naturally.
Okay, so you mentioned a couple things there that I want to touch on, and I don't disagree with anything you said so far. So I'll be clear about that. I tend to disagree, just for the type of perspective to explore both sides of the equation. Okay, so you believe that everyone has a soul, and here's a kind of a controversial thing. What makes you believe that? Or I guess I don't want to put words in your mouth. When do you believe that it is likely, or do you have a theory on when we incarnate into our soul, or soul incarnates into the body? Do you think it's at birth? Do you think it's at inception? Do you think it is at a different age? How is and have you thought about that? I guess that the possibility of incarnation in different ages of our vessel?
Yeah. So yeah, reincarnation is it's like for example, like you change your clothes, right? Like you don't wear the same clothes every day. You change your clothes. So like it's like even in this one body, like like let's just say there's a man, he's 20, he's 25 now, and then and later in the future he'll be 35, and then in the past he was 15. So like every 10 years the body is changing. Actually, even scientifically, every 7 years, all the cells in your body completely change. So even scientifically, that's like your body is always changing. So and you get different desires, you get different thoughts, but still you're the same person. After 10 years, after 20 years, after 100 years, you're still the same person in the same body. I mean, not necessarily in the same body because you're changing your body, but you're the same person, but you're always changing your body throughout your entire life. So similarly, when it's your time to go, like when it's your time to die, then that soul, it goes into a different body. It's like changing clothes. You change your clothes like that. It's like it's stated there in the Bhagavad Gita, and then uh yeah. So like this is, and you I'm sorry, you were mentioning uh what was, I'm sorry, I kind of like lost it. What was the other question? I'm sorry.
No, it's okay. It was one question there. What age do you think we incarnate, and is there a
Oh,
determining
age. Oh
factor
yeah, and
in when our soul
yeah,
chooses
yeah.
this vessel to incarnate into?
Yeah, okay, yeah. And then yeah, so like I was saying earlier, karma actually has to deal with a lot of so if you believe in reincarnation, you have to believe in karma. It like goes hand in hand pretty much. Because like I was saying earlier, there's some people born like rich, poor, ugly, some people are born like without eyes or legs or arms or with anything. So like that, you have to do something in your previous life to deserve that in your next life, whether it's good or bad. And then when does the soul go into the body or into your next incarnation? Well, actually, it's almost for some time, like when you die, there's like some time where it's like a little weird. It's like kind of like in Catholicism they kind of talk about that limbo stage. Well, in the Vedas it's
It's called
described where
purgatory
like
in Catholicism.
yeah, okay, yeah. And then like in the Vedas it's described like after you die, you wait for some time before you get reincarnated into your next body. And so once you do, actually, the soul, as soon as so the father, he's the seed giving father. So the father is actually the one who gives life, and the mother, she's the one who carries the child in the womb. But the father is actually the one who gives the life because he's the one who's implanting the seed into the mother. And so that soul, as soon as the father releases his seed into the mother, that soul immediately is already on its way into the semen and already on its way to developing onto a material body.
Hmm. Interesting. Is that a consensus? I guess because I think that there seems to be a lot of things that are not explainable. So you try to formulate different theories. At least I do. I don't think about this stuff at all. I'm always going to the next thing and trying to reformulate a theory based on my own assumptions. Um, I believe that we are in a simulated environment, and so in that simulated environment, and there are tons of proofs not only in physical matter and energy reconstruction and development. Um, in that environment, there are things here that are not um, what we would say sold or vessels. I think that anything could be a vessel. I don't think that everything has a soul. Meaning, I don't think a tree has a soul necessarily. Just in terms of the foundational level of it. I believe that we are all energy and we are all in a simulated environment, and with that, we're like a program in that program, right? So if we're in a system that everything is let's say ones and zeros, even though that's not what I mean. If we're in a system that has everything ones and zeros, we're all programmed. Everything in here is programmed that you see. Everything in here that is potentially to be inhabited is called the vessel. Most humans are able to be inhabited, in my opinion, and that we could all be vessels. Dogs, cats, the living things could be vessels. The other things are just simulated in terms of that. And then that goes super deep in terms of how that is constructed, because what I'm learning now is that there are different levels of consciousness. And I don't mean just up or down on the spectrum. Yes, you could say that some have, 0 and some have 100, but the unconscious things are not inhabited by a divine source, creation, power, however you might state it. And so consciousness is not only the program that we run on, but there are things below that, like our subconscious would be activating below us as well. There are also non-conscious levels of energy as well, and they could be people, they could be vessels. There's a large following right now is talking about NPCs or non-player characters or empty vessels, soulless. And I think that is very, it is kind of comical, but it also is, if you look into the layers of that, it's very specific. I've been looking into the internal monologue and internal dialogue, and things that you wouldn't even think about as a regular person, not observing and not questioning things. But there are actually a very large percent of the people that have no dialogue in their head or monologue. They have no inner voice. And so they often describe this picking a process to what we would call thinking. They're not thinking. They are literally running on a program in terms of how they function, how they work. And it explains a lot of thought processes where you're like, what are they thinking? How can I explain something to someone and they don't have an answer for me back? And they go back into their, what they call a file cabinet, and grab the answer, and they give you an answer, but it wasn't a thought process, right? It wasn't a dialogue. It wasn't a monologue. It wasn't a questioning. It wasn't an inner voice. And so you start looking at that and go, okay, now it makes sense to me in my theory of how things are working in this big environment that is, the way we perceive things is almost digital or almost interpreted by signals. And so consciousness is not only, in my opinion, stated from like 0 to 100% of being sentient, but it also now explains things like psiability, the siddhis. It explains things when you're connecting to a field of energy above you or outside of this simulation, what they call the Akashic records. We talked about this briefly in Tampa as well. And so you're tapping into a field of not only energy, but knowledge and recorded history in terms of how it's recorded, that you could actually time travel, astrally, and you could go to another place. So there's so much involved in the consciousness aspect of it. I'm absolutely fascinated by it. Not only studying other people with different consciousness levels, but I call it cognition levels, and able to tap into the psiability of mental process. And so when you said that everyone has a soul, I would doubt that, just because of what I have observed and what I've seen and what has been documented. I don't know everything. I hardly know anything. I just observe things and I try to formulate processes involved in that. I'm not here to convince you or anything like that. I'm just telling you my process of how I've come about that. As far as the consciousness is concerned, I'll let you answer to that, because I know I have a delay, so I don't want to be talking when you're trying to speak as well.
Yeah. So, when it comes to consciousness and why, why we understand that every living entity has a soul, is because even even the scientists, and there's actually numerous videos on YouTube you can look at yourself. Now there's for example, I can give you one basic example. There was a man who was growing two different types of plants. They're the same plant, like some sunflower or flower rose, and one flower, he was playing Mozart music, like he was playing very classical music, and the other one, he was playing rock music. And so, like this, the plant that was hearing the Mozart music actually started to grow faster, and actually it was flourishing as a plant. But then the other plant that was listening to the rock music was actually starting to die. And it was actually very crazy, like, how can a plant which it seems like it doesn't have ears, but somehow or another is conscious enough to understand that uh, this music is better than the other. So in the betas, it's described like that. Like every living species, all these different types of species, even though it may not seem alive, it is alive. It has a soul. It has some conscious. It's just like you were saying. There's different levels of consciousness. Some
Mhm.
are very high and some are very low. Like a tree is actually a pretty low conscious because the tree, there's not much thinking. It's just, there's now the tree is very tolerant. It has to tolerate wind, it has to tolerate heat, has to tolerate cold, has to tolerate humans, like cutting it down, taking its branches, whatever. So there's so much tolerance the tree has. But when it comes to actually perceiving who it is, what God is, this world is it can't conceive of it. It doesn't have that capacity of consciousness to understand above its pay grade like that. But us humans, like you yourself, you are coming up with all these intricate philosophies and theories and different understandings of how we can overcome the mind and what is the goal of life, what happens after death, all these different. That's like a higher level of consciousness. Actually, in the Vedas, the first step to spirituality is a tattva brahma jigyasa. That means to inquire about the absolute truth. So actually, in spirituality, as monks, we actually encourage people to inquire, because if you don't inquire, how are you supposed to learn? You're not able to learn if you don't ask questions, and these questions have to be meaningful. They have to be very deep. If it's controversial or not, it doesn't matter. You have to get to the point. You have to know about the absolute truth. There's relative truth and there's absolute truth. There's a difference. And and yeah, I mean, like for example, like there's even higher consciousness more than us. Like I was saying earlier, like these demigods, these higher living beings, their consciousness is like way more immense than us. Like, for example, like an ant may be crawling on you and you may not even know it. And or you do see it. You see the ant crawling on your foot or your leg or whatever. But the ant doesn't really know what it's crawling on, because like compare us compared to the ants, we're like gods compared to them. We're like giants. It's like they can't even understand like what's like what is this thing next to me. Like this huge. They don't
Mhm.
understand what they're crawling on. They don't know who they're crawling on. They don't know what type of power we have. So similarly, like us compared to these higher living entities, these higher beings, we're like ants compared to them. It's like, so it's like even the consciousness is like a vast difference. So everything does have a soul, according to the Vedas. Everything does have a soul. It's just some souls, they're so low consciousness that almost it basically seems like they don't have any conscious. But they're just so low that it basically seems like they don't have any. But they do have some. It's just very, very like low grade, basically.
So I would say I guess it depends on the interpretation. I'm assuming what was the language that they wrote in? Was it Arabic? Was it Greek? What is the highest base of the Bhagavad Gita and the text that you're referring to?
Sanskrit.
Sanskrit. Okay, so the oldest language, yeah, or the oldest
Is
recorded
the oldest
language.
language is exactly even NASA wanted to use Sanskrit for coding because it was the most complicated language in the entire world.
Yeah, NASA wants to confuse us completely. They have no problem
Yeah,
trying to do
I
that.
agree. I agree with that, but I'm just saying that
Yep.
Sanskrit is definitely the most ancient and most intricate language.
So I don't know a lot about the translations of Sanskrit, but I would say that in that interpretation, what you're describing to me is not a word for soul. That would be a word for energy, in which we're in a simulated environment. Everything has energy, thus it's appearing in this environment. If it had no energy, it wouldn't be here. It would be lack of energy. It would be like, I guess, like a black hole almost kind of thing, where you couldn't actually not only see it but observe it, as well as see it or experience it. Forgot what you had said about something that I was going to say about the experiment. Obviously, is something that's interesting. It's like a cymatic pattern, which actually I showed you a cymatic pattern on my phone. I have it in my car that formulated from fog and moisture out of nowhere, and it went away in a couple of days, which I don't know what that is or where that came from. But again, cymatics and observation is all part of this environment, this simulation. So everything that's here in my world, in my reality, is that, and it works with every science experiment that's ever been done, is it has to do with the observer effect as well, of who's observing it and can it be replicated. And I'm not saying that that's what you're saying was documented as false. It's absolutely correct. And the way that it is, it's because it's like a collective consciousness is changing the environment. And that's been documented as well, too, in National Prayer Days or World Prayer Days, where people from all over the world will actually think positive thoughts and pray. And the observable effect was that crime was reduced by like a very significant amount, like 30% across those areas. And again, what that has to do with is collective thought, which is actually a form of cognition and consciousness that goes into the astral or the Akashic field and actually can manipulate the environment in physical matter reality, which is also provable as well. So there are things that I tell myself all the time: don't be stuck on. Nothing is impossible. That we don't even comprehend, like you said, the ability of these things to act in accordance and with quantum effects on them, where you could tingle one electron here and it tingles over here in a whole nother atmosphere, dimension, whatever. And the way that happens is, again, the observer effect, and the ability of the consciousness to supersede all forms of medium and dimensions. So there's tons we could discuss that are interesting. I'm here to talk about what your thoughts are and the monk's thoughts too. I don't want to hijack this in terms of a simulation conversation, but those are things that I've taken into my awareness and I've formulated too. And again, doesn't mean that I'm right. Just I'm always moving and thinking. I think one of the Vedas, the highest form is self-actualization is the highest form of that. But there's actually some that are above that as well, and that would be what you would call the Krishna consciousness, would be the unity consciousness, and that is again one of the highest forms of consciousness. And cognition is that you can interact with your environment and you can move them, and that's how some of the siddhas are done. Is that they're actually what, like Neo says in the Matrix, is that you become and you believe, and then after belief is you just integrate. Like that's a form of cognition and frequency, that when you tap into that frequency, you can actually merge with it, and that's very similarly with what my findings have seen as well. Okay, so
Yeah,
interesting. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, I was gonna say that. Like you were saying, the Vedas, they deal with us the highest is like self-realization. That's true. The goal, the main purpose of the Vedas is, like I was saying earlier, it's like a instruction manual. It's like it helps us understand how to become self-realized. That's like, that's the main goal of the human form of life, is to obtain self-realization.
Perfect. So we talked about this a little bit too, the simulation part of it, the illusion. What is your interpretation of what this reality is, this Maya, this illusion? Seems like every religion, every origin story, all the oldest texts talk about an illusion of Plato's cave, of things that we would say are not possible, that are always been possible. Can you explain to me the background on that for me?
Yeah, you're gonna like this. So, this material world actually is like a simulation in a sense, because this material world is actually temporary. So in that sense, this material world is an illusion because it's temporary. I mean, even you learn that in physical science, that matter that has a beginning and there's an end. So even the emotions connected to that matter, there's a beginning and there's an end. So there's always it's fleeting. It doesn't last. It's temporary. So in that sense, it's illusion. But also, this material world is the simulation, because The reason why we're here in the material world, the reason why we're here right now where we are, is because it is due to our own desire. The reason why we're here is because we want to be here. It may not seem like that now. Like, how can you say that? Like right now, bro, if I can go to the spiritual world and leave this material world, I would want to do it right now. You know? But obviously actions are bigger than words. You gotta walk and you gotta do the talk. You have to do both. So it's like, but originally we're all spiritual beings that come from the spiritual world. We just desired to enjoy separately from Krishna. And so, we all have free will. So Krishna, he gives us the free will to do whatever we want. So we have this intense desire to enjoy separately from him. So he's like, okay, you can do as you will. You can go. I give you this playground to go play around in which is the material world. He gives us this playground of the material world. He says, go and play. When you come back, tell me how it was. And so, in one sense, this material world actually is like a dream, because Mahavishnu, he actually, his name is uh, Garbhodakshaya Vishnu, or no, yeah, Garbhodakshaya Vishnu. No, yeah, Garbhodakshaya Vishnu, and he's sleeping. It's called yoga nidra. He's like in this like yogic sleep, and just by breathing in and out, like millions, it's like, like the multiverse theory. Like scientists believe that they came up with this theory, but actually in the Vedas, this so-called theory, it's not really, the Vedas are like, we perceive the Vedas as like absolute truth. So the in the Vedas, it's described that this there the Mahavishnu, he's the one who emanates all these multiple universes. And so like his multiverse theory actually originates from the Vedas, and it's not really a theory; it's actually more like a fact. There's like billions and billions of universes, and and when he breathes in, then all the universes become destroyed and come into inside of his body. And so like that, it's like a dream. So basically, in a sense, this material world is like a dream. It almost seems like, it's like, it's not real, but it's real at the same time. So that's that. This is that. It's like, and you're talking about energy, and actually everything is energy. There's material energy, and there's the spiritual energy. But the material energy is it's more gross. That's the best way I can put it. It's more gross. But the spiritual energy, it's transcendental. There's but even in material energy, there's like, so it's like you have to go. So actually, to get free from the material energy, you have to go more in this. You have to be more subtle and subtle and subtle and subtle and subtle until you're able to transcend that grossness. You're able to transcend that material nature. And you're able to be situated in the spiritual nature, spiritual energy. Eh, so yeah, this basically, this material world. Anything that you're doing that is not connected towards the pursuance of self-realization or spirituality or Krishna consciousness, that is called Maya. It's called illusion. Maya literally means, the translation of Maya literally means that which is not.
Okay. So one of the other theories that I have as far as simulation theory is concerned, in this not being a real physical matter reality, which we're told, is the siddhas, which are like things that should not be possible, right? They violate the laws of nature and reality. Have you seen any of those in person? Have you seen any of the any of
100%.
your? Yeah. What have you seen? I think that'd be amazing to see that.
So yeah, I mean, when I go on, when I even like myself, like I experience it on not a day-to-day basis, but like I experience it frequently. Like, okay, like like this like, for example, like this crazy. I remember one time, okay, you know like I was at, well, actually, okay, my friend, he was at a parking lot, and he was distributing books late at night. And so there was this man, this black gentleman, and he approached this black gentleman, and he wanted to give him books. And this black gentleman immediately pulled out his gun, and put the gun, like he put his barrel of his gun right in front of in his face. Like he was about to, like, kill him. He's basically about to die. And so my friend, he started singing these prayers to Lord Nrsimhadev, It's like these Vedic prayers, mantras. He started seeing these, chanting these mantras, for protection, for divine protection. And so he started to chant these mantras, and then all of a sudden, he was like saying, he was pointing again. He's like, "So what are you even doing out here anyway?" And then my friend was like, he's like, "I'm just trying to." He's like, and oh, like, that's sorry, I'm getting this wrong. And he's like, "Yeah, what are you even doing out here anyway?" And then my friend's like, he's like, you won't do it, you won't do it. He's singing the mantras in his mind, or even out loud. I don't remember. Both, probably both. And then after he got done singing the mantra, he's like, you won't do it. You won't do it. Why don't you do it? Why don't you do it? Like, why don't you just shoot me? And then the guy's like, what are you even doing anyway? And he's like, hands him the books. And he looks at the books and he's like, whoa, bro, I love this stuff. And then he like gives him $20 and that's it. He leaves. It's crazy, and it's like, and yeah, I mean, there's in the Vedas, even in the Vedas, it describes mystic powers. Like there's eight perfection, eight siddhis. So there's eight different siddhis that you can perfect. You can make yourself as light as air. You can fly. You can go into water and you can go out another place. You can basically like teleport. You can like you can manifest out of thin you can manifest things out of thin air. Like, have you ever heard of what is this called? In India, they have this every 12 years. They have this thing called Kumbh Mela. Have you heard of this?
No, I haven't heard of that.
No. Okay, so every 12 years, there's a specific time in India. It's called Kumbh Mela, and all the rishis, yogis, all these different like sages, they come down from the Himalayas, and they exhibit. They try to impart upon people their spiritual knowledge. Like they're trying to help people become self-realized and more spiritual, but they also exhibit their spiritual mystic potencies. Like these mystic potencies actually, uh, in one sense, it's not so hard to obtain, but it depends. You have to perform a lot of austerity. You have to perform a lot of penance like this. And so these rishis and these yogis, they perform a lot of like austerity, like penance, and they obtain these mystic powers. And like it's like really crazy. It's really far out. And it's like, people exhibit these mystic powers. It's like really crazy. Even so, Srila Prabhupada, he's the one who translated and wrote the books that I gave you. His name is Srila Prabhupada. At the age of 70, he he left India and traveled all the way to America in 1975. And no, sorry, 1965. Sorry, he left India to go to America in 1965, and he was already like 70 years old at that time, or like in his 70s, and he he traveled all that way in a boat, and he had two heart attacks on the way, and he he had no money, no friends, in the middle of New York, and he didn't know what to do, you know but he just started chanting. It's the tree is still there today at Thompson Square Park. They call it the Hare Krishna tree. He went under that tree and started chanting with his kartals, with his symbols, and he just immediately, a crowd just started forming around him, and he just and over just the span of 10 years, he opened 108 temples and made over 5,000 disciples that were not Indian, that were from America and all over the world. So
Nice.
that was his mystic power. He was able to and he was able to transfer his enthusiasm into the hearts of others and help them understand how to overcome these uh the material nature, basically.
He was like a shepherd. He was shepherding people.
Yeah, I guess it
All
was.
right.
Yeah, he's like that.
He was bringing them together. So enlightenment, awakening, and so what? So the purpose of life, you said before, was to get rid of your karma. Yes, is that? I don't want to put words back in your mouth again, but trying to summarize that. What was the
Yeah,
purpose
they get
of
rid of
awakening and to get
yeah,
rid of
yeah.
karma?
So that's there's many stages of enlightenment, but one of them, yeah, like you said, is to get rid of all karma, to get free from all karma, good or bad. And enlightenment, escaping the material world. Uh, that's another form of enlightenment, is to understand that another, yeah, like another point of enlightenment is to understand that we're not supposed to be here. Like you understand, okay, I'm not supposed to be here. Like, you're trying to escape from this material prison. A form of, there's many different forms of enlightenment. Like I said, there's different realizations, higher realizations. It depends. There's Paramatma realization, there's Bhagavan realization, and then there's Brahman realization. These are different levels of realization. And Brahman realization is probably the most uh, easiest but dangerous one to realize, because it's hard to realize it completely. Brahman realization is like you seeing everything in a sense as, like, energy wise, everything is the same, pretty much. Everything is like, ultimately, Brahman realization, like everything is the supreme Brahman. Everything is Brahman. So like that. But that's very hard to realize because people are so conditioned into the material body. So it's not easy at all to realize that, in a sense, because they're very conditioned in the gross body. And even the yogis and rishis who do perform that realization and that enlightenment, most of the time they're not able to sustain it their whole life, because they become basically they get deviated on the path. So it's very hard to realize it in that sense. Paramama realization is, you see the super soul within everyone and with everything, like that. And and that Paramama realization is more easier to realize, but is also a little difficult too, because you can, like I said before, you can also get deviated. Straightforward to the point is Bhagavan realization, enlightenment, is that you understand that Bhagavan, he is qualitatively one and different from everyone. So you understand that Bhagavan, or God, he's a person directly. He's the supreme person, and there's a difference between everything and him. But at the same time, there's no difference between him and everyone. So it's like, because it's like a fire and a spark of fire. Like the fire is immense, and the spark is the same as the fire, but quality wise, quality wise, it's the same, but quantity, that's the difference. The fire is immense while the spark is very
Hmm.
minute. So it's just like that. It's like we are sparks of the supreme. So we have the same quality as him, but we don't have the same quantity as him. We're limited while he's unlimited. That's like the best and easiest way to understand uh yes, like spiritual enlightenment, basically, to understand the Bhagavan realization.
Okay, I like it. Good explanation between enlightenment. Okay, so we get into another side aspect of that. Would be, you said this material was a trap. So let's explore that for a second. The Gnostic viewpoint. I'm not sure what you know about the Gnostic Christianity, Gnostic viewpoint. The Gnostics was to their point was to escape through knowledge or gnosis. And what you were supposed to realize was, number one, that this was a simulated environment, and that there were rulers or archons that governed this, and that it was not actually created by the supreme being or by God. It was a demigod that created this environment or this world. I'm not sure what you know about the Gnostic Bibles, the Gnostic viewpoints.
That's interesting. Yeah, I don't know much about the Gnostic viewpoints, but that's interesting that you said that that they believe in that the demigods created this material world, which actually in the Vedas is actually true. That there's three main predominating deities in in the universe, which is Lord Shiva, Lord Brahma, and Lord Vishnu. So Lord Shiva, he's the destroyer of the universe, and then Lord Brahma, he's the creator of the universe, and Lord Vishnu, he's the maintainer of the universe. And so Lord Vishnu, he's in the mode of goodness. Sorry, Lord Vishnu. Yeah, Lord Vishnu is the mode of goodness. Lord Brahma, he's in the mode of passion, and Lord Shiva, he's in the mode of ignorance. So there's three main modes of material nature, goodness, passion, and ignorance. So then there's like, so like that, they're divided like that. And Lord Vishnu, he's the supreme, but the two other main demigods, like Lord Shiva and Lord Brahma, these they are like you said, like Lord Brahma, he's the creator. Now ultimately, it's like if you go back to the root cause of all causes, like the seed giving, like I was saying earlier, the seed giving father, the reason why the plant comes about is because of the seed. But the plant, it creates, so many things. It creates beauty. The flower is very beautiful. It creates aroma. It creates nectar, things like that. So it creates all these amazing things. But ultimately, the real purpose, it came from the seed. So similarly, Krishna, Vishnu, he's actually the seed giving father of the whole material universe. But Lord Brahma, he's empowered by Vishnu, he's empowered by Krishna to create, basically. So Lord Brahma gets his power from Krishna. So in one sense, yeah, the demigods do create the material world, but in another sense, if you keep looking back upon behind the curtains, ultimately Krishna, he's doing everything.
Hmm. Very cool. So in that, let's go back first 1 second and touch on this again. The what is the genesis of this place, this reality that we're in? What does it state in Genesis? The first line is in the beginning. What would be the first lines of that book, of the creation of this place?
Yeah. So in the Srimad Bhagavatam, like I was saying, uh I guess you can say, if you really want to understand like how, what was the first thing. So actually, the first thing that was created into the material universe
Just
was
on my end.
sound vibration, was sound vibration. And Krishna says that, out of all the syllables, I am Om, like this. I am out of all sound vibrations, I am Om, like that. So like actually the first sound vibration was actually Om, AUM or OM, like that. AUM, actually there's a meaning to AUM, Om. A stands for Krishna, U stands for Radharani, his eternal consort, and then M, it stands for the Jiva, which is us. We're the Jiva, like the living entities. And so sound vibration, even in Genesis, like you were saying, God said, "Let there be light." Uh, people think, okay, yeah, light came first, but if you really think about it, sound came first, because Krishna, I mean, God said, "Let there be light," so he had to
And speak.
speak first. Then, so actually, sound came first. So actually, even in the Vedas is the same thing. Sound is actually the first thing that came into creation.
Yeah. Yeah, agreed. Is there was there a so this place was created. So if we take this place and say it was created, which means there had to be somewhere else before it was created to create this place. How is that? How is that determined? What's basically what I'm trying to ask is what would be outside of this initial creation that we call it Earth now, but they didn't call it that back then. What's outside of this? Where was it created from? Was it a divine spark? Was it other gods? Is there a story to be told before this place was created?
Yeah, so like before this material world was created, there was the actually the spiritual world is eternal. Spirit means there's no beginning, there's no end. It's Satchit Ananda Vigraha. It's eternal, full of bliss, full of knowledge, and it's just so it's completely free from, like, it's completely based. Spirit is completely different from matter. Matter, there's a beginning, there's an end, there's a limit to your happiness, and it's not full of knowledge. You know, so but spirit is completely transcendental to that material nature. So before the material world, it was actually, like I was saying earlier, we're all originally from the spiritual world, the spiritual universe. There's a difference between the spiritual universe and the material universe. The spiritual universe is the original. Actually, so in the Vedas, it described that actually the spiritual universe is way bigger than the material universe. The material universe only comprises 1/4 of the creation, while the spiritual universe is three-fourths of the entire creation. So like that, actually the spiritual world is actually way more action going on, and so like that we can understand that there's so much variety. There's in the material world, there's like, there's variety here in the material world, but it's, there's a limitation to what you can do. There's only so many condiments and so many things that you can do. But in the spiritual world, it's variety like anything, variegatedness. It's just there's no limits at all. And so in the spiritual world, there was actually no beginning or end, and it said like that. It's said like that in the Bhagavad Gita, that not tad bhasayate suryo na shashanko na pavakaha yad gatva na nivrantate tad dhama paramamama. It basically means that there is no sun in my spiritual abode, or Arjuna. There's no sun or moon. This spiritual world is completely self-effulgent. It's completely self-effulgent. It's self-illuminating, and one who attains the spiritual planet never returns to the material world. So actually, that, going back to that enlightenment, when you become enlightened, you understand that this is the destination that I want to reach, the spiritual world, and you never come back again to the material world. Basically, stop samsara, and you reach that eternal spiritual sky.
Hmm. Very cool. Okay, so along those lines, what is so back on your path of enlightenment, or gnosis, gaining knowledge and understanding your own peace and your own self. What do you find it was verifiable, and what would you say now was belief? Not just before, but now. What do you look to verify your faith versus what you think your belief system is?
Yeah. So, uh, the pretty much we like, okay. So yeah, that's actually that in Krishna consciousness, we don't tell people to blindly follow anybody or anything. Obviously, I don't think, at least hopefully nowadays, people have some sort of intelligence not to blindly follow anything. Because even when I first got into this, I was very skeptical, and that's actually like I was saying earlier. The first instruction of the Vedas is the Tato Brahma Jigyasa, to inquire, to inquire about the absolute truth. So, everyone has their own beliefs and opinions and ideas, but you know, like I was saying earlier, there's absolute truth and there's relative truth. So when it comes to beliefs and ideas and opinions and stuff like this, it's very relative, subjective in one sense, like bias, you know. Uh, but as monks, and as follower of the Vedas, we're more on, like, like absolute truth, and that's it. Like, we're just straightforward, no beating around the bush. We keep it as it is. That's just how we are. Like, we're very strict in in that way. And so the Vedas, they originally come from Krishna himself. So we take the Vedas as, basically, I guess it's not really much of a belief. It's more like God's law. Like, it's more like it's like this is like set in stone, like nature type of thing. And the Vedas speak about so many things. The Vedas are super vast, but the Vedas come directly from Krishna himself. And so it's more like, it's not really much of a belief, or it's more of like a verifiable thing. So like that, like Bhagavad Gita literally means, Bhagavad means God, and Gita means song, which Bhagavad Gita just means the song of God. Uh, and But yeah, it's Bhagavad Gita as it is. We It's the one I that packet I gave you. It has that Bhagavad Gita as it is. It's the most uh uh eh, sold edition of the Bhagavad Gita, because there's so many different translations and stuff like that. But that Bhagavad Gita, we've named it Bhagavad Gita as it is for a reason, because it hasn't been changed and has been kept intact for over 5,000 years, for 1,000 of years, from Krishna himself. And so the knowledge coming from the Vedas, we understand that it's verifiable, because it's coming from God himself. And there's so many, like I was saying, like Bhagavad Gita, it's a historical thing. Even today, you can go to India and you can see the Kurukshetra war, where it actually happened, and there's museums of different artifacts during that time over 5,000 years ago. There's in Dwarka, there's a place called Gujarat. In Gujarat, there's a place called Dwarka, and that was Krishna's palace, and it's actually underwater, and they actually found evidence of Krishna's palace that dates back during that time. So anyway, there's so many more things that could be said, but yeah, I mean, when it comes to dealing with uh, like belief and verifiable fact, we mainly take everything from the Vedas as like a fact, pretty much as a fact. Uh, we don't really take it as a belief because, like I was saying, everyone can have, belief is like a temporary thing. Like I can say that this my idea, my belief is that the sun is not going to rise tomorrow. But no matter what I think, the sun is going to rise tomorrow. So it, the belief is like it's like a relative truth, but we're trying to look at the absolute truth.
Okay, who wrote the Bhagavad Gita? Who is accredited with writing it?
Yeah, so his name is Vyasadeva, Veda Vyas, and he's actually he's like a Shaktivesh avatar. He's empowered by Krishna personally to write the Vedas and write he actually wrote his name literally means Veda Vyas, the one who divided the four Vedas, Veda Vyas, the one who divided the four Vedas. So he actually composed the four Vedas and wrote them down. And then from the four Vedas, he has Trikala Gyan. So he has like this mystic power where he can see past, present, and future. And so he he's actually still alive. He resides in the Himalayas, but most people just like they can't perceive of him. But he's still alive today. And he divided the four Vedas, and he 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 from the four Vedas, he basically understood that people in Kali Yuga weren't able to understand the Vedas. So he summarized it more or less like condensed it so people can help them understand, which was Vedanta. But even that, he understood that okay, people still can't understand this. So he comprised it's called the Srimad Bhagavatam. So it's like the essence of the four Vedas. So the Srimad Bhagavatam is the essence of all the four Vedas. And Veda Vyas, he was basically like a incarnation to write down the sacred knowledge, basically.
And that was about 5,000 years ago.
Yeah, over 5,000 years.
So what was the time before that? What happened before that on this planet, on Earth? Was the planet created 5,000 years ago? I mean, in terms of the reality, or what? So you said it reincarnated. Obviously, was to do that. He was reincarnated from who? Was it prior to 5,000 years ago? And then again, what was going on here before then?
Yeah. So before 5,000 years ago, it was actually a different yuga. It was Dwarpa Yuga. Over 5,000 years ago, it was right now we're in Kali Yuga. Before that was Dwarpa Yuga. So
And Kali Yuga is the most difficult, correct? It's the most suffering.
yeah, exactly. The more it's called the age of coral and hypocrisy.
So
So
before
in
that,
Dwarpa
what
Yuga,
was there?
it's definitely. Yeah, so I mean, like 5,000 years ago, it's not actually this material universe was created like I don't even know, trillions and trillions. So no, the universe wasn't created 5,000 years ago, but it was just a different yuga. Like it was basically like the time changed, like the energy shifted. I guess you can say like the energy changed. Like people in Dwarpa Yuga, they were more spiritually inclined. They were more strong, more moral, more intelligent, things like that. But in this Kali Yuga, as soon as it turned into Kali Yuga, then this age, people become less intelligent, less strong, less spiritually inclined. Morality is going down, truthfulness is going down, cleanliness is going down, stuff like that. But before 5,000 years ago, it was it was there it was just it was the civilization. It was actually way better actually. So people, a lot of people say, like, we're very advanced, you know we're very advanced, we have a very advanced civilization. But actually, if you look at it, and if you, especially this modern civilization, if you really look at it, we might be advanced technology wise, materially maybe, but when it comes to consciousness and thinking and the way of life, it's not advanced at all. It's actually backwards. Actually, 5,000 years ago, the people during that time were actually way more advanced. They were their thought processes, their inclination towards spirituality, their understanding of who we are and what we are and how to go beyond this material world, stuff like that, is completely beyond what people can even perceive of now. So actually, yeah, I mean, before 5,000 years ago, everyone was living a way more peaceful life. I can definitely say that.
So, is there any talk of history before the Vedas were written? Because it seems to me like it's pretty obvious. I mean, as far as my belief system is concerned, that there was some kind of a reset in Christianity, in the Abrahamic religions. There was a flood. We could say that there was a reset there as far as humanity is concerned. If we're in a yuga now, and there was a yuga before, and how many yugas were there? Are there total? Are there four or more?
So that, yeah, there's four.
Four. Okay, so the first yuga, the second yuga, the third yuga. There's no recorded history of those yugas. Is that accurate, or
No,
are there?
no, there is.
There are. Okay, so what are those first three yugas? And then what are there? Is that also in the Bhagavad Gita, or is it other books that were translated or?
Yeah, I mean, it's described in the Bhagavad Gita, not so much. It describes about it, but not so much in depth. But the Srimad Bhagavatam. So the Srimad Bhagavatam is like the postgraduate study of the Bhagavad Gita. Like I was saying, the Srimad Bhagavatam is like the essence of all the Vedas.
Mhm.
So the Srimad Bhagavatam, it talks about it, and yeah, there's four main yugas. Like okay, so it starts. So it's like different. It's like time is not linear. Time is secular. It's like cycles, So like the winter, summer. Like right now we're in winter. Then after winter it'll be spring and then summer and then fall and then like that. So it'll keep going in circles like a clock. So
Sure.
similarly, these yugas, they change like a clock. It's like a cycle. So right now we're in Kali Yuga, and after Kali Yuga, towards the end of the yuga when it's about to end, then it starts over again, and it starts at Satya Yuga. That's the first yuga, Satya Yuga, and then Treta Yuga, and then Dwarpa Yuga, and then Kali Yuga. So like Kali Yuga is the last and worst one, which we're in right now,
Mhm.
and then the best and first one is Satya Yuga. So in these different ages, there's different inclinations and different modes, different energy like I guess you can say like energy shifts, energies like that. So like Satya Yuga, it's that's the best age. Everyone there, like they're able to like fly, and like they're like super beautiful, and they're able to control their minds super easily. They're like everyone's super tall, and like they live like people like the standard lifespan in Satya Yuga is 100,000 years. That's the average lifespan in Satya Yuga is 100,000 years. And then in Treta Yuga, it becomes, people are still like that, but like not as much. Then their lifespan becomes like 10,000 years. And then in Dwarpa Yuga, it decreases even more. And then their lifespan is 1,000 years. And then in Kali Yuga, in Kali Yuga, it decreases even more all the way. And then the average lifespan is like 100 years. And then as Kali Yuga progresses, like it's said in the Vedas, it literally says it in the Vedas that eventually people won't even live past like 30 or 50 years old.
Hmm. So why are you here? Why are you here in this Kali Yuga? For me to ask if you meditated on that would be stupid. That's obvious. So I won't ask that question. What have you come up with as far as why you are here right now in this
Why
in
am
this present
and
present day Yuga?
why am I here right now in this situation?
Yes, yeah. Why are you here
Is that what
in
you're
this
asking?
suffering Yuga? Yeah.
Okay. Why am I here? So yeah, I mean, I'm here because I wasn't able to perfect my life in my past life. So because I failed in my last life, now I'm here in this age, Kali Yuga again. I mean, even in my past life, I was probably still in Kali Yuga. But I mean, I mean, we're all in this Kali Yuga due to misfortune, honestly, due to misfortune. But by the mercy of Krishna, and by the mercy of a pure devotee of Krishna, we're able to be free from all the yugas and Kali Yuga and return back to the spiritual world. So ultimately, like I said, it like it all it's really free will. We just The reason why I'm here is because I just, it's just a misfortune. I failed to complete the task that I'm meant to perform, basically.
Okay, and so I get to ask this question because there's nobody that is not thinking about this in any reincarnated past, present, future, school environment. Um, why did we forget? What's the purpose of going to school if every day we forget? If every day our memory is either wiped or taken away, what's the purpose of that? What would you say in your words?
Hmm. Yeah, good question. So actually, even or you know what something crazy is that actually Arjuna asked the same question to Krishna in the Bhagavad Gita, and Krishna says that the reason why I he told Arjuna, he's like, actually I've told all this knowledge to the sun god already. And Arjuna's like, well, how is that possible? I'm older than you. Like, but Krishna's like, no, actually, I'm completely transcendental. I had many incarnations and reincarnations and like this. I appeared after every millennium and after millennium because Krishna is completely transcendental to the material world. I mean, he's the supreme Lord himself. So he tells Krishna, he says, you have taken many births. You don't remember any of them, but I remember everything. I remember all of them. And he said, and he tells this to Arjuna because if Arjuna and if we ourselves, if we remembered all of our past lives, and if we remembered, if like let's say we just remembered everything, like we've had billions of past lives, like trillions. I don't know how many, but it was a lot. We had many. We've been in the material world for such a long time. That's why it's so hard to take up to spirituality because people are so conditioned into the gross material world that that it's just not easy to take up spirituality. It's just not easy. And because we've been here for so long, I mean, like for example, like they even say that in when you're working out conditioning, like you have to condition your body to become stronger, faster, like that. So same thing, being in the material world, you're here for so long that you're attached to the material body, and then it's hard to give up these attachments. It's very hard to, and so you stay here for a very long time, and it's not easy to get out. And so we have so many lives, and that's back to my point. We have so many lives that if we actually remembered every single one of them, it will be so difficult to even think of our what we're doing right now or what the goal of life is, or like how do we, because like we're just so bewildered and baffled by all these different memories that we have, that how can we even progress in spiritual life, and how can we even move forward, because you're just stuck in the past with all these different memories.
So how many material worlds are there?
How many material worlds are there? So there's multiple universes. There's billions of universes. Like I was saying before, there's billions of
Is that according to
universes.
what NASA?
No, according to the Vedas, there's billions of universes, but there's one material universe.
And we're in it.
Yeah.
Hmm.
So it's like a material. Like for example, okay. So it's like let's just say like okay, there's a room, and then like right now I'm in a room, but I'm actually in a closet right now. So there's like this section is cut off from the other side of the room. So it's like that. It's like they have like they have the whole creation, but then one part of the creation is the material space and the rest is the spiritual space. So like that, the material space is actually very small. It's actually one-fourth of the entire spiritual atmosphere, but it's very tiny. But in that material universe, in that material, I guess you can say box or place or corner or whatever, in that material spot, there's billions of other different smaller universes that we're in, basically.
Hmm. Interesting. The way that they lay that out. Um, I had a question for you. I was going to keep going down the rabbit hole, but well, let me ask you this: what's next for you? What are you looking? What are you working on? What are your what is the word for dissolving karma? Is there a word for that?
Yeah, yeah. Like how to be free from like samsara, how to be free from
Is that what you're
karma,
working on now currently? Is that what the quest is? I mean, you're a young guy. Like that seems like a lot of time to be working on that.
Yeah. I mean, spiritual life is not okay. Like for example, like even materially speaking, like if you want to give, like if you want to become a doctor, if you want to become an engineer, if you want to become like all these high end jobs, like very intricate, like you have to go to college. You have to get a degree. You have to study for so long. That's materially, like materially. Okay, you have to show yourself that you're ready for the job and you're qualified for the job. But you wouldn't speak of spiritually is completely like transcendental to the materially. Like it's hard to understand materially, but it's hard to understand material things, what to speak of spiritual things, so it's so when it comes to spiritual life, we shouldn't waste any time, and we should immediately take upon the spiritual life. Because if you think about it, like there's this wise man. His name is Chanika Pandit, and there's a book called Chanika Niti, and he says in that book that those who take upon the perishable lose the imperishable and the perishable, but those who take upon the imperishable gain the imperishable, and they don't have any need for the perishable because they already gained the imperishable. Meaning that if you take up the material aspect of life, you lose the spiritual and the material. So you're losing both if you take up the material. But if you take upon the spiritual aspect of life, you gain everything. You don't lose anything if you take upon spirituality. So it just makes sense. Like why do you have to endeavor for material gain when you can just immediately take up spiritually? So even he also says in the same book, he also says that even if you had 1 billion gold coins, you cannot even buy 1 millisecond back.
But if we're
So we
eternal, then
shouldn't
we have plenty of
waste.
time. But if we're eternal,
Yeah, and
I mean,
it,
that's kind of the overall question for all of us, right? I mean, if we knew what we came from, we would have a better understanding of what we wanted to do or what we had to do. And so when I look at the monk life, the spiritual life that I'm in, the yuga that we are in, as far as that's concerned, I ask myself this question all the time, and I said, well, what do I want to get out of this life? What do I want to get out of this? And when I meditated on this, to I call it my higher self, my subconscious, my essence, not my self-conscious. Excuse me, that's not the right word. Um, what I came back was I'm here for the touch. And what I mean by that is I'm here for the experience, and I'm here for the physical nature of what I'm doing here. And yes, the yin and the yang of the situation is I'm here to develop myself in terms of the same things that you're working on. I wouldn't call it karma because I forgive myself. I have to learn to live with the regret of a decision, but also that I accept the fact that I'm not a perfect being. I'm here to learn and experience. It's the regret. It's the conditioning of failure, the conditioning of do better next time that I cannot accept. I reject that completely. My sovereignty will not let me accept that anymore, because I think what happens is we go through life with emotional attachments, and that's what you're learning about the yin and the yang of life, is that we're in a very difficult, suffering world. If I were to go into the Himalayas or go into Tibet and just reflect on my life and let it all go, I could end that suffering. I could end that attachment and that emotional. But have I really done anything to myself? Have I really become more enlightened? And to myself, my question is no. My answer is no, because I have not learned to live with the daily activities and the stresses, and I let the world affect my emotions and my mental capacity. And that in itself is wrong for me to do that. Now, am I perfect? Hell no. No way, not even close. But I accept that challenge, and that's what my yin and my yang is. I'm accepting the circle of the dark and the light. I accept that the darkness is the world that I have to learn how to navigate with emotion, and realize that this is a simulated environment, and whatever suffering I put on myself is from myself. Yes, it's a reflection of the outside coming internally, but the other part is I have to learn that, and I'll get to this in a second. I have to learn to let go and seek truth and surrender. With those are my three mantras that came to me when I was first waking up, was surrender, seek truth, and let go. Didn't know what the hell it meant, but I keep coming back to it. And now I know what it means.
That's pretty good.
Because because in that aspect, I believe that this life is a gift. And that was my next question and last question to you is, do you believe that this life is a gift? If we're just here to absolve our karma, that's not a gift, that's a penance.
This life is 100% a gift. No doubt. Like I was saying earlier, the human form of life is very rare to obtain. So that's why I was saying and stressing so much that spirituality, we shouldn't waste time to take it up because this human form of life is very rare. We finally have this rare opportunity to understand these higher intricate understandings of consciousness, of who we are, what God is, what happens after death. Like if you really think about it, animals, they can't understand these things. They're just not able to. Even even some people, they're humans, but they have an animal like consciousness. So if a person who has this higher developed consciousness like yourself, you seem pretty intelligent. So it's just like, we shouldn't waste so much time in this material world. We should just hurry up and get out of here because this human form of life is a gift. It really is. It's a gift. It's very rare. It's not easy to obtain. We shouldn't waste any time. We should value this gift that we have gotten. We shouldn't just, it's like, we shouldn't just grab these diamonds and throw it away. We should like hold on to them, hold on tight, and like try to progress in our spiritual life and try to get free from material attachment and redirect our attachment to a spiritual attachment, which is Krishna consciousness, like that.
So what is your goal of attachment aimed at? It's Krishna consciousness, but what is it at? Is it of relieving yourself of regrets, of suffering, or is it of something that is more attainable, in smaller goals?
Yeah, I mean, like you were saying earlier that you said that you don't feel good to just go in the Himalayas and just go and like, free yourself from all this material suffering or whatever. But we also uh believe the same way. Like we shouldn't just go in to the forest or the Himalayas and go and meditate and just be by yourself. I mean, that's one form of self-realization, is to realize, from within, like that meditation upon the Supreme Lord, like that. But ultimately higher than that is actually, like I said, Krishna said before, action in my service is the highest action, actually. Uh to to not to free yourself from action, but to redirect your action to Krishna service. Like, okay, like for example, like I'm using these headphones right now, or I'm using this phone right now, or I have these glasses, or we have these, we drive these vehicles, like we have these trucks, or we have this place. But we're using all these things not for our own desires, our own benefit, our own senses, our own sense gratification, our own enjoyment. We're using all these things in the service of Krishna. So you're redirecting all these material things in Krishna's service. So actually all these things become spiritualized. It's like I don't use this nice truck to go to like the movies or to the strip club or something like that. No. I use these trucks to travel the world and to help other people in spiritual, and to help them understand who Krishna is, who they are, how to, self-realization, self-alignment. So like that, so these material objects become spiritual because they're used in spiritual service.
Yeah, I have the analogy that you just said is 100% correct. Is that these things are used for a purpose, and this body is not me. The same way
Exactly.
this hand is not me, and I'm using the body for a purpose, but it's not me. I should take care of the vessel, but also you should take care of what's inside of the vessel, which is your essence, which is your soul. And I think that is the purpose, what we're here to do. But I think that we are here to experience life, and we're here to test ourselves, with how difficult it is sometimes. And I think the ultimate goal is, like, the Buddha under the tree. The ultimate goal is to find peace, because we're not all here to be happy. We would all say, well, this is the state of capitalism or the state of the world. We all want to, compare ourselves to somebody else. We have Instagram, we have Facebook, whatever it might be. We have YouTube, but we are here to make our own experience the best that we can, in my opinion. And that doesn't mean you sacrifice your long-term happiness for short-term goals, because the long-term happiness is the essence inside of your body. It's not your body, right? So when you look at what's next and what's coming for you as far as that is concerned. How do you know you'll attain it when if and when you get there? Is there a level you're looking to get, whether it's peace, surrendering, happiness, whatever it might be? Is there a level where you'll think that you have actually accomplished something?
Yeah, I mean, like ultimately, what's next for all of us? Like I said earlier, it depends upon you. But for me, what's next for me? I really hope that I can just satisfy my Guru Maharaj, my spiritual master. I hope I can just satisfy him, make him, if he's pleased, then Krishna is pleased, I am pleased, and everyone is pleased. So my goal is to really just to satisfy Krishna and my Guru, and to, but like it was like, satisfy in the spiritual sense, not in that, not in the sense of, yeah, give this person some money, give this person some drugs, give this person a nice car, give this person a nice house, but in a sense where I I'm trying my level-headed best to try and satisfy my guru in the service of Krishna, because the pure devotee, the guru, is satisfied when he sees the disciple engaging in Krishna's service, which is self-realization, self-enlightenment, to help himself and to help others.
Good. I like it. I like it. Do you want to dissolve yourself? Is that what you're looking to do? Take your rainbow body and just poof up in air? That's how you want to go?
Nah, nah. I mean, actually,
No, you want to get back to the dirt.
no, no, no. I want to go. I want to go back to Krishna, back home. So Prabhupada, he said BTG, back home, back to Godhead.
Okay.
We got to go back home. We got to go back home.
That's funny that you say that, because I actually was there next to my father when he was passing, and that was one of the last things that he said at his house, was that he wanted to go home. So all these things that I've synchronistically seen, are, I don't know who's sending me these messages, if they're me or not, if I'm time traveling, or if I'm just connected to the Akashic field, like we talked about before, and potentially just accessing higher levels of consciousness.
I think Krishna's talking to you.
Yeah. Well, I'm Italian, so I'm already Harry. I need the Krishna, no Harry. Just leave the Harry alone.
You got
that's a bad dad joke. My son said that's a bad dad joke. But yeah, I think this was a great talk. What else would you like to tell the audience forever on YouTube?
Yeah. So there's one last thing that I can say before I go is, if you haven't, like I was saying earlier, I have friends like Ali and Chandan. We have this. If you're interested in joining, and check, not even joining, just checking us out, what we do, like retreats and whatever like that.
Okay.
We have we have a Vedic, Vedic Eco Village.org. We have a website, and then if you just go on Instagram, Ollie the Monk. I'll look up Ollie the Monk. Is a very big page. He has over 150,000 followers,
How do
and
I
we have
spell
this
it?
YouTube channel,
O-L-L-I-E?
Live Ali the Monk.
Ali the Monk.
So and we also have a YouTube channel, Life as a Monk. Has
Okay.
about like 10,000 subscribers. Life as a Monk has 10,000 subscribers. There's actually also a documentary about me on there, and then also there's other videos. There's also other videos. There's also other videos on there describing life as a monk and stuff like that. But I would, if everybody is interested, please check it out. We're trying to build this farm community, and we would love for everybody and anybody to come join us, come check us out, retreats and stuff like that. We're trying to build a simple living, higher thinking way of life. Uh, you know, um, you know, become more, uh, become more natural, and not in this very, what's it called? In this very materialistic civilization. So yeah, I mean, that's all much. Pretty much I have to say. Please check us out. Please come join us. Hare Krishna.
What was the website? It's Vedic what?
Vedic Eco Village.
.org. Got it. I think I could type this correctly. It'd be great. Trying to put it up so that people will have to ask. Is that correct?
Yeah. Vedic. Well, it kind of
Eco
wrong.
Village.
Vedic is VED. Vedic. It's like oh yeah, never mind. You got it right. Never mind.
Correct.
Vedic. Yeah, that's right. That's right.
Okay, good. So Vedic.
Yeah.
VedicEcoVillage.org. I'll check it out for sure. And I didn't even know I was talking to a movie star. I didn't know they had a. How long is the documentary?
It's only like it's like a 10 minute documentary. Like
so it's going to show you
minutes.
walking in there with your Air Jordans and Air Max shoes and your t-shirt, tank top, and then you're gonna walk out with your monk outfit.
Yeah.
That's what's up. And then you're gonna levitate, right? In that documentary.
Yeah. I started levitating. Levitating at the end. Start showing my mystic powers.
Check that out. He said he'll levitate, but only for $10,000. No, I'm just kidding. All good. Yeah, I would love to go on a retreat. That's what part of Tennessee is it going to be at?
It's going to be it's a place called Greeley Lager. It's like it's near Chattanooga.
Okay, so I used to live in Nashville for a couple years.
Yeah, it's only 2 hours away.
Chattanooga is amazing. It's really a nice drive. Not a nice walk. If you guys are going to be monking it and you're going to walk, maybe that's not a nice walk, but it's very hilly. You're going to have to get your shoes on.
Yeah.
You don't want to slide down there.
We actually where the farm is, where it's like up in the mountains, so it's very nice.
That's awesome. And do you have a goal? My wife's lifetime goal is to go to Tibet.
Whoa, okay.
When she was there. That's a long journey.
Yeah.
I mean, even the plane ride up to go up is a very long journey. It's like I think it's like 2 days of travel to get there. So
yeah, I'm going to India soon, so I'm about to experience that too.
There you go. I mean, Tibet is in. Do they even call it Mongolia anymore? No, they call it China, or is that India? Is that India? Between, yeah.
Yeah. It's near. It's between, yeah.
Okay, so yeah, I mean, you might have to go there. That'd be cool.
Yeah.
Cool, awesome. Well, I appreciate the talk, brother. I'll hit you up. We'll do a part 2. If I can get some more questions together, and maybe we can invite some of your monk brothers for a roundtable discussion. That'd be awesome. Talk more about the Hare Krishna and the practice.
Yeah, that sounds cool.
All right, man. I appreciate it. Namaste.
All right. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.